Fine.
Mayor White,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Avalon,
Here.
Councilmember Martinez.
I couldn't hear you. Sorry, Ann. Was it me?
Martinez.
Here.
Councilmember Ortiz. Here. And Councilmember Rodriguez.
Is Councilwoman Rodriguez going to join us remotely?
Yes, she will. She is supposed to. She's not on right now.
Okay. We'll go ahead and move forward. We do have a quorum, so. All right, let's call for the invocation by Pastor Inez Verdugo.
Just as an FYI, do they have their apparatus already for translation? Because our community members, I know that they have them over there by Ann. Did they give them out? Si tienen sus nada, todo lo de equipaje de traducción tiene que estar en aquella cajita. Nomás para que estén al corriente ustedes de lo que está pasando en la reunión. Just as, you know, transparent purposes that they have the equipment. If it's not there, it might be back there with the translation table.
He's going to translate it. But she's talking about this. Yeah, we only have like six.
Six. Is there any way that he could translate after us, just since to be respectful because of the participation that we have?
Sure.
Yeah. So, I don't know cómo. Solamente tenemos 6 de los aparatos. Yo estoy pidiendo que para que sea transparente y justo para todos los que son, porque son más de 6. Si el traductor aquí presente, él puede estar traduciendo después de cada comentario, tan siquiera para que estén al corriente de lo que está pasando. So, no sé si te quieres presentar, if he wants to introduce himself and let the public know who he is. One.
Si quiere presentarse y luego hacemos la invocación.
Bueno, buenas tardes a todos. Yo soy José Gabriel Mejía, soy un intérprete certificado. Aquí estoy a sus servicios. I'm a medical interpreter. I'm certified. I'm here for any services you guys need.
Voy a leer primera de Timoteo 2 del 1 al 2.
I'm going to read the first of Timoteo from 1 to 2.
Exhorto ante todo a que se hagan acciones de gracias por todos los hombres, por los reyes y por todos los que están en eminencia, para que vivamos quieta y reposadamente en toda piedad y honestidad.
Therefore, I exhort, first of all, the supplications, prayers, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings and all who are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceful life in all godliness and reverence.
Aquí está. Y si quiere la puedo leer todo en español. Y luego leer en inglés. Okay. Gracias a Dios por este día, por su amor, por su sabiduría. Bendice al concilio, al departamento de policía, a los bomberos, a las agencias que ayudan en Greenfield, en el nombre de Jesús. Amén.
Thank you, God, for this day, for your love, for your knowledge. Pray for the Department of the Police, for the firemen, and for all the agencies that help in Greenfield. In the name of Jesus, amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, will you all please stand for the pledge? Councilwoman Ortiz, will you lead us in a pledge, please? Agenda review.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to pull one item I-5, which is the dog park update. We don't have one available. We'll reschedule for a future meeting.
All right, so we're pulling I-5, dog park. All right, sounds good. We'll move to public comments from the audience regarding items not on the agenda. This portion of the agenda allows an individual the opportunity to address the council on any items not on closed session, consent calendar, public hearings, and city council business. Under state regulations, no action can be taken on non-agenda items, including issues raised under this agenda item. Members of the public should be aware of this when addressing council regarding items not specifically referenced on this agenda. Do we have any public comments?
Tenemos algunos comentarios públicos.
Thank you. Good evening, council members, Mayor White. My name is Claudia Gomez. I'm Director of Family Services with Door to Hope. First, I would like to thank you for your long-standing partnership and support in providing a beautiful space to offer our services to Greenfield families. Together, we have been able to grow our playgroups, parents as teachers, home visiting, and mental health services, and establish the trust needed for our community to flourish. We understand that it takes a cohesive village to raise healthy and productive citizens. And with collaborations with the City of Greenfield and the Greenfield Union School District, we're making big strides in assuring our families have the tools needed to succeed. Currently, we facilitate 5 playgroups a week at the Greenfield Community Center. About 50 families and 60 children come to playgroups each week. We facilitate playgroups in English, Spanish, and Triqui. We have a Triqui Spanish-speaking facilitator that facilitates groups primarily in Triqui for our Triqui-speaking families. By coming to the community center, our families are not only learning about the services and information that we provide them, but they're also learning about the services that the recreation department and the city offer to them. Our families are seeing the collaborations between agencies and are learning how to trust and access the services in their community. We see more and more families each reach out to our services each year, and we would like to continue this work for years to come. Unfortunately, First 5 will no longer be funding playgroups in the next funding cycle beginning July 1st. This means we will no longer be able to sustain playgroups at the community center. We are now reaching out to you to explore the possibility for funding opportunities. Greenfield Union School District has recently approved a 2-year contract to sustain a limited number of playgroups at school sites. We would also love to partner with the City of Greenfield to sustain playgroups at the community center, as we have an established playgroup room that many Greenfield families benefit from and enjoy coming to every week. Our goal is to strengthen and grow the collaborative community we have created with the Recreation Department and the families that come to us each year. I look forward to a formal presentation to share some of the details on what we need to continue providing this valuable service to our youngest families. I have met with Jesus Perez and City Manager Paul Wood to discuss some of the details, and I am pleased that they too believe in the tremendous impact early learning programs have on communities. We look forward to strengthening our collaboration and working towards our shared vision of creating healthy and a safe community. Thank you for your continued support and for your time today.
Thank you.
Good evening, council members and Mayor White. My name is Denise Jaime. I am the FFN coordinator with Door to Hope. As mentioned by our director, Claudia Gomez, it's unfortunate that we will no longer be receiving funding for playgroups from First 5. I would like to extend our gratitude for the amazing partnership that we have built in the last years with the City Recreational Department, as it has been a vital component of our playgroups to have become as established and successful as they are. These past years, we have provided community members with playgroups along with mental health services and home visit programs, which have become of great importance in the Greenfield community, as well as a need for the community of Greenfield. By sustaining these services in the community, we have established trust and support with community members. We not only offer services for children under the age of 5, but support the entire family as a whole. Our playgroup support parents with parenting skills and knowledge of the importance of early child development of their children, as investing in the early years of children will prepare for their educational pathway once they begin to attend school. Through the playgroups, we also support families in learning to navigate for services within the community and outside of the community, as well as to be their own voice and advocate for their needs. Finally, I'd like to mention our agency, Door to Hope, is the most established agency offering ongoing services to the community of Greenfield these last 7 years by having sustainable collaboration with the city of Greenfield. We remain consistent and present. Even through the pandemic, we continue to offer playgroups consistently via Zoom along with the rest of our programs and help ease the uncertainties and fears our participating community members had during this difficult time. I'm confident that we will continue such great collaboration with the city of Greenfield. As I'd like to remind everyone, it is of high importance and responsibility of not only the parents, our schools, but our community to really bridge and work together for the early years of our children for better education and more community support. And on behalf of our agency, but more importantly, the participants of our programs in Greenfield, I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Adelaida Álvarez.
My name is Adelaida Alvarez.
Vivo aquí en la comunidad de Greenfield.
I live here in the Greenfield community.
Soy facilitadora de grupo de juegos de esta comunidad.
I'm a facilitator of group games in this community.
Ya tengo 7 años ofreciendo grupo de juegos
I have 7 years already offering group games
bajo la agencia Door to Hope
under the agency Door to Hope
en colaboración con los primeros 5 del condado de Monterrey.
in collaboration with the first 5 of Monterey.
Y este servicio es totalmente gratis
This service, it's totally free
para todas las familias de Greenfield.
for all the families here in Greenfield.
El grupo de juegos es en triqui en español
This group of games, it's in Triqui and in Spanish
cada lunes por la tarde
every Monday afternoons
en el Centro Comunitario de Parque Patriota.
in the community center of the Patriot Park.
Gracias al espacio que nos han prestado durante todo este tiempo,
Thank you for the space that you guys have been letting us borrow for all this time.
hemos podido ofrecer este programa
We have been able to offer this program
a todas las familias de la comunidad de Greenfield.
to all the families in the community of Greenfield.
Mi experiencia en estos 7 años como facilitadora
My experience in this 7 years as a facilitator,
es que este programa ha ayudado mucho
this program has helped very much
a los niños de edad temprana
for the children at the early ages.
a mejorar sus habilidades y rendimiento por medio del juego.
It helps their abilities, their betterness in related to games, group games.
Les quiero decir que el grupo de juegos es muy importante
I wanted to let you guys know these group games are very important
para todas las familias
for all the families
que tienen niños de 0 a 5,
that have children from 0 to 5.
ya que muchas familias
Now that many families,
dependen de este programa
they depend on this program
porque les ha ayudado mucho
because it has helped them very much.
y sobre todo
Overall,
a las familias indígenas
the indigenous families,
porque son los más vulnerables.
because they're the most vulnerable.
Gracias
Thank you,
a Jesús Pérez
Jesus Perez.
porque siempre nos ha ayudado y ha apoyado.
He has always helped us.
Gracias
Thank you
por el espacio
for that space.
y les queremos pedir, todos nosotros que estamos presentes hoy aquí,
All of us that are here present, we want to ask you,
que por favor
please
nos ayuden y nos apoyen
help us, support us.
a que este programa continúe en nuestra comunidad en Greenfield.
That way this program could continue in this community of Greenfield.
Piensen en todas nuestras familias
Think about our families,
y en todos los niños que están presentes hoy, por favor.
all the children that are here present right now, please.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hi,
Mi,
good
no-
afternoon.
mi nombre es Mónica Celestino.
My name is Monica Celestino.
Soy madre de 2 niños.
I'm a mother of 2 children.
Mi hija tiene 4 años
My daughter, she's 4 years old.
y mi hijo tiene 2 años.
My son, he's 2 years old.
y participo al grupo de juegos con la maestra Adela Álvarez,
I do participate in the group games with Maestra Adela Alvarez,
bajo la agencia de la Puerta de la Esperanza.
under the agency, The Door to Hope.
Gracias a este programa, mi hijo está aprendiendo a hablar, a interactuar con otros niños.
Due to this program, my son is able to talk, to interact with other children.
Y eso le ayudará a estar listo para kinder.
This will help him get ready for kinder.
Por eso queremos pedir que nos ayuden para este programa para continuar aquí en esta comunidad, por favor.
That's why we want to ask you to continue, help us with this program. That way we could keep it on this community. Please.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hello there, good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Alberta Merino
My name is Alberta Merino.
y tengo dos hijos, una de edad de 2 años y otra de 4 años.
I do have 2 children, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Soy madre indígena,
I'm an indigenous mother.
hablo triqui y español.
I do speak Triqui and Spanish.
Vivo en Greenfield, California.
I live in Greenfield, California.
Estoy participando en el grupo de juegos con la maestra Adela Álvarez.
I am working in that group games with the teacher, Maestra Alvarez,
Los miércoles por la tarde.
Wednesdays in the afternoon.
Ya tengo 2 años participando y me gusta mucho venir al grupo de juegos
I've been participating already for 2 years. I like coming to this group games
con mis hijos porque es un tiempo de calidad para ellos y para mí.
with my children because it's like a quality time for them and for me.
Mi experiencia ha sido que por medio de grupo de juegos,
My experience has been that in related to these group games,
mis hijos aprendieron y desarrollaron sus emociones,
my children were able to learn and develop their emotions,
el lenguaje y a socializarse con otros niños.
the language, and they were able to socialize with other children.
Gracias al grupo de juegos, mis hijos estarán listos para entrar en la escuela.
Thanks to this group games, my sons and my children, they'll be ready to go into school.
Por esa razón les quiero decir que jugar con mis hijos
That's the reason why I wanted to mention, playing with my children,
es muy importante para su desarrollo de edad temprana.
that my children play, it's very important at an early stages.
Y gracias a este programa por sus horarios flexibles.
Thank you for this program, especially for the flexible hours.
Y sobre todo por hacernos sentir seguras y bienvenidas,
Overall, for making us feel welcome and thanked.
ya que el grupo de juegos se ofrece en triqui y en español.
Now that this group games, it's offered in Triqui and in Spanish.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes.
Hello, good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Medelina Ramírez.
My name is Medelina Martinez.
Ramírez.
Sorry.
Estoy participando al grupo de juegos
I am participating in this group games
con la maestra Adela Álvarez
with teacher Adela Alvarez
aquí en la comunidad de Greenfield
here in the community of Greenfield.
y les quiero compartir
I want to share
que este programa ha ayudado mucho a mi hija de 4 años
that this program has helped a lot my daughter who is 4 years old.
y es un espacio de calidad y tiempo
It's a space of quality and it's time.
de calidad para mí y mi hija. Por esa razón,
It's time of quality for me also and to my daughter. That's the reason
les queremos pedir
we want to ask you guys
que por favor
to please
nos ayuden a continuar
to continue helping us
con este programa
with this program
aquí en la comunidad de Greenfield, por
Here.
favor.
in the community of Greenfield. Please.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Micaela Espinosa.
My name is Micaela Espinosa.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Micaela Espinosa. Estoy aquí en el grupo de juegos con la maestra Adela Álvarez.
I'm here in the group game participating with teacher Adela Alvarez
Bajo la agencia Door to Hope.
under the agency Door to Hope.
Y les quiero comentar que este grupo de juegos
I want to mention that this group games
ha ayudado mucho a mi bebé
has helped my baby a
y
lot.
y a una hija mía que está en primer grado.
And one of my daughters who's already in first grade.
Este programa es muy bueno para todos los niños
This program is very good for all children
de 0 a 5 años.
from zero to 5 years of age.
Por esta razón,
That's the reason
les quiero pedir,
I want to ask you,
yo y todas las familias que estamos el día de hoy presentes,
me and all the families that are here present,
que nos apoyen y nos ayuden
to help us and support us.
para que este lindo programa pueda continuar.
That way this beautiful program could keep on going.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Estela Zenobio.
My name is Estela Zenobio.
Tengo dos hijas, una de 6 años y otra de 3 años.
I do have two daughters, a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Participo al grupo de juegos
I participate in the group games
con la maestra Adela Álvarez
with teacher Adela Alvarez
bajo la agencia de Puerta a la Esperanza.
under the agency Door to Hope.
Y gracias a este programa mi hija se ha beneficiado mucho,
Due to this program, my daughter has benefited a lot.
ya que le ayudó mucho a mi hija de 6 años a estar lista para entrar a kinder.
It did help my 6-year-old get ready for kinder.
Por esa razón continúo participando a este programa
That's the reason why I keep on participating on this program
con mi otra hija más pequeña
with my younger daughter.
y le queremos pedir
We want to ask you,
que nos apoyen, por favor,
support us, please.
ya que es el único programa gratuito
Now, that's the only free program
de nuestra bella comunidad de Greenfield
that our beautiful city of Greenfield,
y al horario flexible para todas las mamás que trabajamos en el campo.
and it's a flexible hours, especially to all the mothers that work in the fields.
Agradecida estoy con la maestra Adela
I'm thankful with teacher Adela,
y espero que nos puedan ayudar, por favor.
and I hope you guys could help us out.
Muchas
Please.
gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Mi nombre es Maribel Fernández
My name is Maribel Fernandez.
y participo del grupo de juegos
I do participate in the group games
con la maestra Adela Álvarez.
with teacher Adela Alvarez.
Empecé a participar en este programa
I started participating in this program
desde que mi bebé tenía 6 meses
since my baby was 3 months old.
y nos gusta mucho participar al juego de juegos, al grupo de juegos,
We really like participating in these group games
ya que nos ha ayudado mucho.
now that it has helped us so much.
He visto en mi hija que ahora ya tiene 3 años,
I've seen it in my daughter. She's 3 years of age now.
que habla
She speaks
y interactúa con otros
interacts
niños
with children.
con más seguridad de sí misma.
She feels more secure from herself.
Y estoy segura que mi hija,
I'm sure that my daughter,
cuando cumpla los 5 años,
once she's 5 years of age,
ella estará lista para entrar al kinder.
she should be ready to go into kinder.
Y todo gracias a este programa.
And it's all thanks to this program.
Por favor, apóyennos para que este programa continúe en nuestra comunidad.
Please support us. That way this program can still continue in this community.
Muchas gracias
Thank
por
you so much.
escucharnos. Gracias.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council, Mayor White. On behalf of Greenfield High School and class of 2023, I want to thank the city for their kind donations towards our Sober Grad Night. Thanks to your generous donation, along with donations from our community, we were able to raise close to $10,000. Sober Night was a huge success. We had about 120 students attend Sober Grad. I want to thank Greenfield Police Department for helping us throughout the evening and early morning, as the event lasted until 2 a.m. It was a very successful event, and your contribution went towards the food, prices, DJ, photo booth, and that's it. Everyone had a great time. So thank you very much for your continued support for our graduating senior class and giving them an evening together that they'll always remember. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
¿Algún otro comentario del público?
All right. I see one hand raised.
Hi, good evening. Hello.
Can't hear it. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
We could barely hear you.
Give us a second, B.
Okay.
Try it again, B.
Hello, can you hear me now?
That's a little better. Yeah.
Okay, I sound like AT&T now. Hi, good evening, good evening, everyone. I just want to go ahead and I'm in support of the first 5, the Door to Hope. You know, kudos to them, and like I said, I'm in support with them. I want to thank Ms. Martinez for, you know, transparency on translation. You know, I think we need to be ready at all meetings on that. You know, and as far as reception on the meetings, I hope that in the new budget that's coming in, we can go ahead and get better a system, you know, for it is kind of hard to hear when you're on Zoom, you know, so just wanted to go ahead and add that on there. Okay, thank you, and thank you for today. Bye.
Thank you. Anyone else?
¿Alguien más?
If not, we'll close public comments and move to comments from City Council. Councilwoman Martinez.
We don't have Ariana on the line anymore.
Ariana should be able, she joined us at 6:10.
Oh, okay.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Go ahead, Ariana.
Oh, perfect. Because of the shaky connection, I'm going to go ahead and refrain from any comments tonight.
Okay.
I guess it is me
There you
after
go.
all, right? So first of all, I want to thank the parents that showed up. Les quiero dar las gracias a los papás que vinieron presentes hoy. Yo sé que no vienen porque la ciudad los está invitando, es porque ustedes se organizaron. Así es que de verdad un aplauso para las maestras, a Denise y la maestra Adela, gracias por traer a los papás y que su voz fue escuchada, de verdad. Me encantó ver a la comunidad de Greenfield con su huipil, honrando la cultura de Greenfield, así es que gracias a cada uno y con la directora aquí presente de Door to Hope. So I just want to thank them for being here, showing the culture of Greenfield, our very beautiful and diverse culture. The mothers wearing the huipil, which is a beautiful symbol of their culture. And I know it's been hitting hard everywhere with First Five taking money back allocated for different communities. I've been hearing it left and right. So I know that this has been part of our conversation in the past, not directly with Door to Hope, but I know Paul and even before past city managers, we discussed, and I've always been pushing for universal preschool. I know that's a conversation that everybody has had. Being a past educator myself in early childhood education, I know that that's one of the things that I really wanted to shift the city was to universal preschool. And I think with this, it would be a perfect opportunity to really kind of embed what we had envisioned city manager would for the past many years of how can we do it. And so we have the program. Let's just get the funding here with the city and let's make it work. If San Francisco could do it, then Greenfield could do it, obviously, and other cities are adopting it as well. So thank you for your time. I really do appreciate seeing every single one of you here. So I think that will be it for me.
Councilwoman Ortiz.
Good evening.
The first I wanted to say congratulations to Sober Grad Committee. You guys did an awesome job. I've been hearing about it from different people that their children went, and I hope you guys keep it up. And next year, Cynthia, do it again. Come back with some more money. All of you, everybody, and all the volunteers, you guys did a great job. I also want to commend the police department for the standoff that they had the other day of working with the other departments that came in to help the situation. And I'm glad that you're all safe, and thank you for protecting our city. I also wanted to find out about, I have some questions about code enforcement. I've seen a couple of posting community residents asking about how do they go about, like what are they doing, what side of town are they doing, what section are they doing, you know, what's a priority, what's not a priority. And so I'd like to see what actually code enforcement, I know they're working, but I'd like to see how they go about their day and maybe see some sort of schedule, maybe some more posting on social media. So the residents can see where they're going to be at, and, you know, make it easier for residents to report if they have some concern about homes or vehicles or anything that's unsafe in the community. Also, I talked to a couple of people about, they're inquiring about maybe possibly moving the farmer's market. I think it was placed there before I was on council, so I'm not quite sure how that came to be, why it was over there. I know that it was by the library, then it went to the park at the end of town. There's been a few people asking, why can't we have it over at the Memorial Hall? So I'm not really sure. You know, I'm not going to give an answer that I don't have. I don't know the information about. So that's another thing. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I want to say thank you to the police department, the fire department, and the assisting agencies over the weekend for the situation that happened in District 1. Thank you for updating the community via Facebook and social media and letting them know what was going on to kind of stay out of the way, you know, stay inside and all that stuff. I'm really glad that you guys do that, because when we get texts or calls, like, we really don't know what's going on, like, in the moment. So one of the first things we do is probably all of us go to social media and see if anything's posted about the situation. And so you guys are letting the community know what's going on, and I really appreciate that. I really feel that every single department in the city of Greenfield could, you know, follow your lead and be proactive as much as you guys are on social media and letting the community know what's going on. So thank you so much. Let's see, summer's here, everyone. So just, you know, I'm going to say what I always say. Be careful out there when you're driving. There's a lot of kids going to be out and about. The weather's getting nicer. They're going to be doing, you know, activities around the city. So just, you know, take caution when you're driving out there. Please see our rec center, the library, cultural arts center, or science workshop to see any activities that are available for you and your kids. And everyone have a great summer. And to all the graduates of 2023, congratulations. That includes the high school level, college level, 8th grade promotion, 6th grade promotion, kinder, TK, all of that good stuff. So I hope you guys have a great summer, and thanks, Mayor.
Right. Thank you very much. I have several things tonight. First one was I would like to request that we purchase some additional headsets. Let's improve our translating ability here and be able to be a little more transparent by getting the word out. I want to announce that the Free Connecting Seniors with Technology class is available this next Tuesday and the 20th and the 27th. It's held in Chambers 11 to 1. There's a phone number to call, 277-0514. I would like to announce that the Monterey County Food Bank is having a pop-up food distribution tomorrow 9 to 10 at the Memorial Hall, 615 El Camino. There is also a lunch available at the library for those kids under 18, June 6th through August 5th. That's the Greenfield Library at 315 El Camino Real. I attended a Salinas Valley Chamber of Commerce event yesterday in King City. It was a grand opening for Fenton and Keller legal offices in King City. South County now has legal office in King City available. There's been a void in the legal services availability for South County for a while since the passing of Mr. Pete Anderson. Fenton and Keller will be offering a broad range of services, including wills and trust preparation and other legal services. Mr. John Kessiker, who is a resident of Soledad, has many years of experience and will be the primary attorney at the King City office. This should make obtaining legal services much more convenient for all of South County. So if you need legal services, we now have it in South County. I would also like to request a couple updates if I could. I would like to request an update on the Greenfield, Welcome to Greenfield sign project and the downtown banner project, and maybe even an update on the 12th Street improvement project. So all three of those I know are in process, so it'd be nice to get some updated information. And finally, I would also like to offer congratulations to all the graduates. It's graduation time, and it's a good time for families to be very proud of their accomplishment and the accomplishments of their children. So congratulations to all. All right. Let's move to the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent are considered routine and may be approved by one action of City Council unless a request for removal or discussion or explanation is received prior to the time City Council votes on the motion to adopt. And I will open public comments regarding the consent calendar. Seeing none, I will move. Do we have any items to be pulled from the consent calendar? Any information necessary from council? If not, then I will entertain a motion on item H1 through H6.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. I understand we need to do roll call vote.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ortiz, Councilmember Martinez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Antelon,
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. We'll move to Mayor's presentations, proclamations, communication, and resolution. We have a presentation and the proclamation for Greenfield High School varsity baseball. Proclamation of the City Council, City of Greenfield, recognizing the Greenfield High School boys varsity baseball team. Whereas the City Council of the City of Greenfield wishes to congratulate the Greenfield High School boys varsity baseball team for becoming the champions of the Pacific Coast Athletic League for the 2022-2023 year. And whereas this has been an exciting and hard-fought and successful season, we are proud of your record and you have earned and the fine publicity you brought to our community by your inspired play. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Greenfield, takes great pleasure in recognizing the Greenfield High School boys varsity team and to hereby extend this expression of our pride and your accomplishment. Passed and adopted by the City Council, City of Greenfield at a regular meeting held June 13, 2023. Congratulations. At this point, I'd like to call up head coach Diego Mendoza. Congratulations. Thank you. This is for you. If you can maybe call off your players, I'd like to get hands with each one.
Okay. If we can get Coach Abel up here with me so you can call them out, that'd be perfect.
All right. Coach Abel Pajas. Congratulations.
Thanks.
A few people that can make it today.
Coach, will you announce their names anyways, even if they're not here, just so
Yeah,
you have
okay.
recognition?
Great.
Thank you.
Do that then. Yeah, just announce it.
The first player is Frankie Hernandez. He couldn't make it today. There's a few other players that are in other sports, such as football. I just came from football practice myself, so they couldn't make it. They're just dedicated to the sport and they just want to get better. So the next one is Gabriel Espinoza. He's at football practice. Manny Perez. Alex Perea. Josh Kansey. Gabe Kansey. Aaron Mora. Isaac Cantu. And the following players come accept your certificate of achievement. Eric Hernandez. Tyler Garcia. Malcolm Bautista. Tony Pantoja. Manny Gutierrez. Alex Gutierrez.
That's the left.
All right. Council, why don't you come down and let's take a group picture with the team.
Oh. Oh, great.
Congratulations. All right, we'll move to item I2. Proclamation of the mayor and city council proclaiming June 2023 as Alzheimer and Brain Awareness Month. Whereas Alzheimer's disease, a progressive neurodegenerative Brain disorder tragically robs individuals of their memories and then leads to progressive mental and physical impairments. And whereas Alzheimer's is the sixth leading cause of death in the United States, and is the only cause of death in the top 10 that has no cure, no treatment, and no way to slow its progression. And whereas globally, an estimated 44 million people are living with Alzheimer's and dementia, and by 2050, the number of people aged 65 or older with Alzheimer's dementia is projected to increase by 68%. And whereas with early detection and diagnosis, individuals and their families can gain access to treatment, medications, enroll in critical research trials, fully participate in planning for the future, and receive help and support from the Alzheimer's Association. And whereas there is a need to raise awareness about Alzheimer's disease and to honor all the caregivers who support and care for the loved ones with Alzheimer's disease. Now, therefore, I, Robert White, Mayor of the City of Greenfield, do hereby proclaim June 2023 as Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. Council want to make any comments?
The only thing that I was gonna suggest, I don't really wanna say any comments. I don't wanna open any wounds that still hurt. But since I have two amazing of our city staff members here present that currently work with seniors, and I've been to your socials, not just for the fun and the dancing, but there's a lot of caregivers there, and it would only be right if you two could come and receive this proclamation in honor of all those caregivers and loved ones that are currently battling that horrible disease in the city of Greenfield. I know Angela's not here, but we have both of you.
Yeah, if I say anything, it's also going to open some, bring out some tears, but thank you very much. I wasn't expecting that. I really appreciate it. And it's something that you have, the council and certain ones on the council have always advocated for the seniors. And I truly appreciate that, and having the support of our city manager to do more for our seniors, and seeing what they write, because we do want to get their feedback on events, them expressing how much it helps them with their mental health, their emotional health, just being around people, having people do something special for them. And so it's a very special project to me, and I really appreciate Braulio for helping us put everything together. The full calendar that we have was also part of his consistent efforts of calling so many agencies to bring them down here to serve our seniors. So thank you so much for this proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you. Item I3, proclaiming June 2023 as LGBTQ Pride Month. And I have a proclamation. As we celebrate and declare June as Pride Month in the city of Greenfield, we are reminded of what Greenfield makes Greenfield great. Our remarkable capacity to live together and advance together across every conceivable difference. This June, we stand with the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer community of Greenfield as they declare their pride in who they are and who they love. This year marks the 53rd anniversary of Stonewall riots, the birth of pride celebrations as we know them. We honor the fight that the LGBTQ community in New York City mounted to protest the hostility and discrimination they face from police. Stonewall Inn was a refuge for queer people of color, homeless, young people, and drag queens. This community united to demand acceptance and respect at great personal risk to themselves. The protest inspired pride celebrations across the world and sparked LGBTQ rights movements in America. Time and again, this community has worked tirelessly for respect and equality. Their battles have been fought in the courts from marriage equality to demanding equal protection under the law. Their fight continues to this day as we combat discriminatory laws across the country. While there has been remarkable progress towards acceptance and equality in recent years, members of the LGBTQ community in the United States and around the world still face an unacceptable level of discrimination and violence. We must remain vigilant and push back against those who seek to roll back our progress and continue to make the case that each of us as human beings share a fundamental thing in common. All of us want to be loved, and all of us want to love. In Greenfield, we celebrate the support of the LGBTQ community, right to live and their lives out loud during Pride Month and every month, and we must continue to demand equal rights for all. Now, therefore, I, Robert White, Mayor of Greenfield, do hereby proclaim June 2023 as LGBTQ Pride Month. Comments?
We do have a comment. I know that again, we don't have participation, and when I've asked several of the youth that I've been working with, sorry, I've been tapping my screen over here, I'm getting distracted. I've been asking the simple question of like, they're excited, like, yay, you guys have a proclamation. I want to be there. But sadly, still, there's a lot of like misinformation out in our communities, or at least not accepting of loved ones. And a lot of the individuals that I talk to don't want to publicly come out here and receive it, or come out and say like, this is who I am to their parents. But the comments that I get, it's that, thank you, City of Greenfield, for doing that, because at least they feel like I might not be ready to come out to my parents, but I know that my city is supportive. And with that, I know that a lot of them have asked, what about the flag? If we're ever going to raise the flag. And there was actually one of our individuals that was going to come and pick up the proclamation. He couldn't make it because he's technically in Soledad. They're doing their flag raising today. And I know Mayor Velasquez had reached out, and I told her, sadly, I can't be there because we have our own meeting. But I know that this has always been a huge issue. But at least just having this conversation now, it might be uncomfortable for some of the folks here in person or the ones watching us via Zoom. But we just need to be able to teach that the world is about love in general, less hate, more love. And I'm going to go ahead and say, Fabiola and Mr. Other member present, if both of you would want to come and receive that, because who works directly with the youth in the city of Greenfield, but both of you. So I would feel like it's an honor for you to receive this proclamation.
I agree with you, Councilmember Martinez. It's hard for you to come out. It's hard for them to be themselves, especially if you don't have the support of your family, your friends, community. If you don't feel safe being who you are, it's hard. Even with myself, I'm part of the community, I'm bisexual. It's hard. I don't say it. I don't show it. I don't really express it, but it's hard. It's hard to be yourself. It's hard to come out and tell it to the public. But I feel like it's important. I've known that a lot of people struggle with it, especially if they don't feel supported. And it's led to a lot of people taking drastic measures because they can't deal with what they feel and not being okay with it. But thank you. Thank you to the City Council for this.
All right. I will move to item I4, proclamation proclaiming June 2023 as Immigrant Heritage Month. Whereas generations of immigrants from every corner of the globe have built our country's economy and created the unique character of our nation and city, and whereas immigrants continue to grow businesses, innovate, strengthen our economy, and create jobs in the city of Greenfield, and whereas immigrants have provided the United States with unique social and cultural influence, fundamentally enriching the extraordinary character of our nation and city, and whereas immigrants have been tireless leaders not only in securing their own rights and access to equal opportunity, but have also campaigned to create a fair and more just society for all. And whereas despite these countless contributions, the role of immigrants in building and enriching our nation has frequently been overlooked and undervalued throughout our history and continuing to the present day. Now, therefore, I, Robert White, Mayor of the City of Greenfield, do hereby proclaim June 2023 as Immigrant Heritage Month. Any comments from council?
I would like to say, I'm happy to see this, today. This is the first time that it's come forward.
No.
Correct? Is it the second year? I don't remember seeing this before.
Yeah.
Really?
3.
Where have I been? Okay, well, I love to see it. You know, just almost every person that you come across has a story of how their family got here. And so just having this proclamation, I feel like lets us share that, right? Like lets us know that we are all immigrants, this country. And I'm just happy to see it.
I also wanted to add that I think this it resonates more like Mayor Pro Tem Antonon mentioned. We've been having it for 3 years, and I should know because I'm the author that brought it forward. So the thing with the whole situation dynamic, not just at the federal level, but also at the local level, it's such a very tense situation, especially with our immigrant community, because we have different governors in different states basically deciding to say, like, this is who we are, this is who we want, this is who we do not want into our communities. And sadly, it's California is a very progressive state, and it's also starting to feel the effects of, you know, a lot of our immigrant community being pushed on to our communities. Having that meeting that I had with Homeland Security, where there was a lot of participation, they talked about the safety that they're doing at the border, and looking at Sergeant Gutierrez. They're going to be also working directly with different police departments throughout the whole country, just because of the whole population that's coming over, how to prepare ourselves. And one thing that they really want to emphasize is that, you know, because of the whole removal of the title, it doesn't mean that the borders are open, that people should be risking their lives and coming over. But at the end of the day, we do understand that people come to this country seeking a better life, not just for themselves, but for their children. And it's like, how do we work with our communities? How do we make sure that our communities understand that we are an open and diverse community? And I think what a better way than having this proclamation here and being able to let the community know that this is who we are in the community of Greenfield, that at least we are here, and anybody that might have questions, they could always come to our doors, ask for a meeting with the council, ask for a meeting with our police department, that it's a safe haven for them. And I just really want to go ahead and bring forward the scenario, looking at our screen with Ms. Diaz, because of the whole situation that happened in Mayor Pro Tem's district. I know that a lot of the controversy was with our H-2A workers, that I guess when they were seeing the helicopter, everybody was starting rumors and conversations about Homeland Security and Greenfield. ICE is doing raids, they're conducting raids, and there's a lot of people in panic mode, and they're, you know, shifting from one place to another. And so we really want to make sure that when those situations happen, we are able to, you know, get that information out there to them, that this is not what's happening. Stay calm. Always make sure that you can reach out to anybody. And thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for really being active that day and saying, like, I need to report back to my district specifically because of this situation. So I will wrap it up by just saying this is such a crucial moment, and it's so important that we present this out to our community. And sadly, we missed all our participants from our Indigenous community. And I know I've always reached out to Dr. Martinez to come and pick up this proclamation, but she's a busy woman, so she's never able to really come here. But Mayor White, I know you'll take it to her.
Yeah, I can take it to her. Thank you very much. All right, let's move to I-6, Traffic Safety Committee.
Good evening, Mayor White and council members. I'm here presenting our final draft of our traffic calming handbook. Staff has been working on this diligently for the past few months. Public Works, our city engineer, as well as the police department have all weighed in on this. And so what we've done is we've come up with a handbook to assist the public in figuring out what requests are reasonable, what can they do if they have a concern. Just adding a stop sign isn't necessarily the answer. Stop signs aren't speed control. So we've actually gone through, let me zoom in on this one today. And I've explained what traffic calming is. High traffic speeds and volumes, as well as inappropriate driver behavior, can adversely impact neighborhoods. These conditions can also have negative effect on pedestrians and bicyclists, particularly near schools, community centers, libraries, and parks. The city responds to these conditions by conducting traffic engineering studies, which may result in lowering the speed limit, installation of traffic control devices, pedestrian and bicycle improvements, or physical roadway features. So Greenfields Police Department may also deploy officers to enforce traffic and parking regulations and to provide education to school children and communities. And so all of these efforts are actually referred to as traffic calming. So I'm not going to read the entire booklet, but what I do want to do is go through and talk about what this is going to do for the city and the citizens. So again, this is a guide, who decides what traffic calming is appropriate in the city. So, okay, let me zoom in. Instead of double page. Is that better?
Okay.
So who decides what traffic calming devices would be installed if necessary? So what we're going to be doing is having the public make their requests. You'll see here at the end of this booklet, there are some forms that they can fill out. But it's going to be a makeup of the Traffic Safety Committee, which will be the Director of Public Works Superintendent, a city engineer, police chief, traffic sergeant, and 2 members of the community. And we will be meeting quarterly instead of monthly to have a more robust meeting. So we want to make sure that any requests meet the California Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, or otherwise known as the MUTCD, and the vehicle code, and that any traffic calming devices such as curb markings, street signs, etc., can be installed with the approval of the TSC. So there are different warrants that accompany each traffic calming device. And so that's what this committee will be doing, is taking those requests and seeing what requests are viable. This booklet will help the residents determine whether their request would be heard by the Traffic Safety Committee. It actually goes on and talks about outreach requirements, different types of traffic calming devices. What these are different traffic control or traffic calming measures that are approved, education programs, high visibility signs, stop signs, parking enforcement, crosswalks, radar trailers, rumble strips, striping. So there's so many different aspects to traffic calming. Does that mean that each one of these would be applicable in each situation? It does not. So for curb markings, you can see this is just a little snip of what do the colors mean? What are on the curb? Not everybody actually knows that. So this is a great indicator for the public to say, oh, that's right. Loading zone is yellow. I didn't know what that yellow was. But you also don't want to have an abundance of painted curbs, because then it creates a costly maintenance item for city staff. And so this recommendation would come from the Traffic Safety Committee, that they would have to be in accordance with the California Vehicle Code, which is per our municipal code section 10.04.030. So our municipal code points us to the vehicle code. So if the vehicle code is saying, yes, you can, it's recommended that we do paint in this section, this color, or it is not recommended, then we would follow that direction on it. But considerations for different traffic calming devices, including curb markings, are vehicles blocking access to driveways, reoccurring parking citations where parking isn't permitted, line of sight issues at intersections. So there's always going to be a positive and a negative aspect to each traffic calming device. I'm just using the striping curb markings as an example. So a positive aspect would be to provide safer conditions for motorists, pedestrians, and bicyclists, and it's easy to install. negative aspects. It could result in loss of parking. So let's say we wanted to paint red curb in certain areas, we could lose parking, and increase parking in nearby neighborhoods. And it could also put, again, that extra burden on crews to keep that area marked. So it goes through, and the same situation is described, the positive, negative, and considerations for evaluating on traffic signage, crosswalks, radar, speed display signs, stop signs and multi-way stops. There goes into a lot of guidance and options for certain things. Gives examples of what an intersection looks like when it's a four-way stop. It actually provides a link here to the MUTCD. It is viewable to the public. I'd recommend knowing what you want to type in the search bar. It's about 500 pages. And then traffic count data. We actually have our circulation element, which can be copied and pasted into a URL to be able to view the circulation element. We have truck restrictions. We do have a current truck route. So if somebody was to call in or want to request no truck parking or no truck travel, we would have to look into the municipal code and then also into these different areas of the MUTCD and the vehicle code. We have, bot dots and rumble strips. You see a lot of those in larger cities, like on tight curves. They'll put those little miniature rumble strips or the bot dots so you them. Also talks about medians. When is a median warranted? What's a positive? What's a consideration? Bulb outs. I know that we with the Safe Routes to School program that we did this past year, we actually talked about a lot of bulb outs. And so some of them are already predetermined through that process, but this would be if a resident suggested, I think we need a bulb out here for some different issues. And then they'd be able to look in here and see if it would qualify in that area. Striping, enforcement. It also includes police enforcement. If somebody's observed speeding, it's not a traffic calming request. It should be a police request for assistance. The same thing is that we have a portable radar sign. A citizen could request that to be put at a specific location. And then actually it's not officially a device, but it makes people aware of how fast they are going in certain areas. And talks about parking enforcement. It's effective while the officers are at the location, but the negative aspect, it's a temporary measure. So it's not a complete solution. So then we come down to the Traffic Safety Committee request form. This looks a little daunting, but we're actually requesting needs to be filled out. Whether it be, me taking a call and doing it over the phone for somebody, or somebody going ahead and filling it out and submitting it to us via email or at the front counter. So there's various different things that citizens can request. Stop control. Oh, do they want a traffic signal, a two-way stop? Oh, we have a two-way stop, but we'd like to request a four-way stop. They would look back in that manual and see if it's something that could possibly be warranted. Restricted parking, no parking or no stopping in a time zone. And the reasoning, sign requests, and then we have other requests. Because if we put every single one of those items on there, we'd have a 8 to 10 page request. We also would like to have them draw a diagram. Show us what you would like to see there. You can always use another piece of paper because these are fairly small, but a picture is worth 1,000 words. I draw a lot to show people what I'm talking about, and it can go a long way for when it's being reviewed by staff and any additional information. So I do want to point out that in the city of Greenfield, it is not a standard practice to install speed bumps on city maintained roads. And we don't, city does not install children at play signs. You see a lot of those little ones people put out in front of their homes. But we will be meeting quarterly. We will start determining that after we choose 2 community members. So that's the brief overview of the traffic calming handbook. So if there's any questions regarding that, then I want to show you the application as well.
Will we be able to see a copy of that?
Sure.
And it's not finalized yet, right?
It's a final draft.
It's a final draft. Okay, so yeah, I'd like to see the actual whole book. And then I had a question about you say they could come here and fill out the form or email it back or something. Is this something we could do, like where we have them printed out for community members at all the, City of Greenfield buildings, like the science workshop, the rec center, things like that?
Absolutely. Yeah, the same thing that Mayor Pro Tem just asked. Since I don't see the number in your packet, but how many pages is this packet? Obviously, they're not going to get the whole packet. They're just going to get the last fill out form, right? Or are you going to give them the whole packet?
The whole thing will be available as a hard copy.
How many pages are it?
16 pages.
16?
Yeah, and it'll be a front to back if it's hard copy. It'll also be on the website.
Okay.
So it'll be available there. We can place it in all the buildings. If schools are interested in having it, we can put it there as well. So it's not too cumbersome. We shortened it up a little bit, but we tried to make it so that anybody can read this and understand. And if not, they can still call us, they can email us, they can fill out a form. That form is going to assist staff in determining whether that's a legitimate item that can go to the Traffic Safety Committee for review, or if the traffic calming book basically says, no, that's not really justified. So it'll help us to read that out and explain to the community.
And it's not translated yet, right? It's not going to be available in Spanish. The whole thing, I'm just thinking as a tree hugger myself, I don't want to be killing a lot of trees out there. It's going to be a lot of pages. So is there a way that maybe we could have it in a binder, have the community look at it and just give the form itself? Because even if I would get that book, it's honestly, Jamie, I usually probably don't compliment you a lot, but this is like amazing. I was just, that's why I wanted you to kind of zoom in. I'm already thinking like Mayor Pro Tem has always been like the lead person when it comes to like school safety, public safety. I think all of us have gotten so many requests from the public that we want speed bumps everywhere. They want speed bumps in every corner, but it's not doable. So this packet, I'm already thinking like, how can you collaborate having President Diaz here in the audience with the schools? Because I know the schools every year, and I hear it at my children's school at Cesar Chavez's, people not respecting the fire zone. They're parking, they're leaving their cars unattended while they're dropping off their kids. They get one-on-one fights with the principals, with everything. It's chaos. So I'm thinking the Cafecitos, President Jaime and Mayor Pro Tem Montalban, because you've been on this forever. How can you go and give that brief overall that you're giving to us? It's amazing. If you're able to go out there with the support of PD or maybe just yourself if you want to go, but really give that in the beginning, I think it would alleviate a lot of the issues and headaches that we as parents have. And I can't even imagine staff, you guys are always dealing with it every single time, but I love this. I truly, if I could applaud Jamie, I will applaud because I really do love this. And even though we cannot provide the public with speed bumps and those amazing children at play signs, but I'm thinking city manager would maybe like for Dia del Niño, which is every once a year, every 30th of April, if we could us ourselves, like the city, purchase like maybe 10, 20 and just give them out for community events. I think that would be really showing like this is who Greenfield is. We really do mean what we say, like when Mayor Pro Tem began her career in politics, children's safety, having her have that personal experience. I think that this is exactly what we were needing. And if this is just the beginning and you haven't had that input from the public, I could just imagine the great things that we're going to be doing. And I don't think in the future any council member is going to get that darn comment of, I want a speed bump in our community. And with that, I end my comment.
Well,
Thank you.
I do want to say, I really liked how you said, even maybe have these at the school sites and have the forms there for the parents to fill out. I really want to just appreciate Principal Hernandez at Arroyo Seco Academy. I know I went to Caesar for a little bit when my boys were attending there, and the traffic there is crazy. It is crazy. But then my boys ended up back with me at Arroyo Seco. But Principal Hernandez stood out there, directed traffic herself. She didn't get in any harm's way or anything. She stood just at the sides where the cars would come and stop, drop off the kids and go. And she was constantly on the parents, like herself. And I know at Cesar Chavez, it was like a free for all. They didn't have that. And Cesar Chavez site is where my oldest son was hit, by a car. So I think, if we partner with the schools and really push, for not just the city of Greenfield to do their part, but the school district to do their part as far as like directing the traffic inside of the school zones, will benefit so much. Like we realized last year that the bus circle was not working, like that we were getting too much traffic on the parking lot area. Like with our teachers coming in, staff coming in, and then the parents trying to drop off, it just didn't make sense. So they literally said, okay, parents, you go where the bus turnaround is supposed to be, and the buses go where the parking lot's at. And it smoothed a lot of stuff out, so it's just like really thinking, how can we fix this? We could only do so much as a city, but I think it's us partnering with the schools and telling them, this is what we see, and this is our advice, opinion, however you want to put it, to make those schools zones safer and more productive. Honestly, just the flow of traffic to be more productive than a free for all like Caesar looks like sometimes. So, or Vista or the high school, like it's craziness. When I was coaching at the high school, I hated going over there when I was supposed to be there because of the school traffic. It was just so crazy. So I'm really excited that we finally got this done. I feel like it's been years in the making. I'm really excited about the traffic committee coming together. Unfortunately, I'm going to be leaving, but I'm still going to be watching and seeing how I want to see this through. And, I would probably still make public comments on certain things, but I'm really excited. I really want to thank you for putting this together. I'm excited to read through it. And I know I've, been on call all the time about school zone safety since our very first meeting in 2018. So I hope that you, know that I appreciate that this is finally coming together the way it should be. But yeah, I think it's going to take a lot more conversation to implement all of this stuff. And I know the last time we met, we didn't have a set person for the high school. I really want to see somebody from the high school on this board. And I really want to see consistency from the GUSD because I know he hasn't been attending regularly. So I really think it's important that because it's going quarterly now, it should be easier for them to attend. I know before it was monthly and that was hard, even probably for you guys, that was probably hard to find the time to show up. It was hard for me to find the time to show up. So I get that, but quarterly, I think that we should make it easier for everybody to attend because this is really going to be something that we all have to be all hands in with both school districts, with the community, are we having a council person in there too? I forgot.
No, in previous discussions, we were not, but they could, you could sit in.
Okay. So if you guys want to just, take turns. On this, I'm okay with that. Do you like to make a comment?
Yeah, you're from the school district. So,
Since we're on that topic. I'd just like to add that what I do know from each school site, specifically the elementaries, is that, yes, you're correct, Mayor Pro Tem Untalon. The principals this last year I noticed were more out in that, what do we call it? That driveway or drive-through. But I also reflect on the fact that we need to continue to educate our community 100% about pedestrian walking, about when it's appropriate to cross the street or not. Countless times I see like the high school students cross with their phone and they're not paying attention and they're just looking at their phone as they're crossing. Other times I've seen community members, adults walking in front of the kids and the kids behind. It's countless of different safety concerns outside of the school sites, but I do 100% agree that we do need to collaborate more in regards to a lot of other topics, but specifically on this one for safety, where we can maybe have Director Nieto attend quarterly. I can relate the message and also continue in working with maybe Director Amezcua to bring these type of topics in the cafecitos. I know that through our agency, we do it on a month to month, depending on the need or what we see. We do offer also these type of safety workshops to talk about this. But at the schools, I have seen that the traffic has become not as unsafe as it was previously, but I think a lot of the times it's really educating the parents, because sometimes they literally will get off, leave their car on, and I'll use Mary Chapa as an example. They get off and it's not even 100 feet away from the gate, and they get off, leave their car. There's a line to the street just to walk the child directly to the door. So I think more of anything is really educating our community in the importance of this matter, but most definitely really working with the district to find a happy balance, because at the end of the day, we do want our kids and our community members to be safe when they cross, or there's cars passing and you know, I see it all the time. People either run the stop sign or they're just driving by like over the speed limit. And so it's definitely a safety concern, but I will make sure to relate those messages to the appropriate people at the district. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Ortiz, do you have any comments? All right. Once this report is filed, what's the timeline on a feedback for the individual filing the report or complaint, however you want to describe it?
Right. So it's going to depend on the request. You know, if we say we have 4 items that come up on the agenda for the traffic safety committee, we're going to address each one. Some may be simple, like, you know, you can't see it from the stop sign down Walnut Street, and we need to paint a little bit more red curb. And if it makes sense and it meets the vehicle code, then we can approve that. There are some that may take a little bit more research. The idea is to have some of that research done in advance of the meeting. So, Mayor White, if you came in today and submitted a request and our meeting is in 3 months, then the goal is to try to do some of that research in advance of the traffic safety committee meeting and then have a recommendation for the committee.
If we're not able to meet the request, such as like the speed bump question you're asking about, is that something we're going to communicate back to the individual? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
So what I put in my request now for the school sites that have, there's I'm not kidding. This is, I'm serious. I will print this out right now. But, you know, those, oh my gosh, Paul, what is it called? It has like the solar power,
the flashing
speed limit thing, the solar power at all school sites both ways.
Yeah, I think that's been in discussions.
It has been in discussion for many years now, but I haven't seen any progress.
And I'm not going to speak for the police department, but I tend to recall that they're working on a grant.
And I believe Doug said that they were very inexpensive. He did say that. So
yeah. Yes. So
yeah. So Can I print that out and request it? So your next meeting should be soon, right?
I don't think it's been finalized yet.
Well, we'll get to that part.
Okay.
But I do, before we wrap it up, because I know we have a long agenda, Jamie. Please do try to meet with Dr. Martinez from Centro Binacional, just to be able to help give a workshop to the community. Know that obviously some of our indigenous language is not written, it's just oral. But at least having that information given out there to them, it's really going to help for everybody. I mean, it's going to help the police department, because we're not just giving citations or, red tagging people. We're actually educating them. This is what you do not do because of so and so. And just to top it off, the language, the vocabulary, I love it. It's very understandable for anybody. I just see this packet and I don't think it's going to be any more work to do than to just fill out. So thank you for that.
One last thing, but
Oh,
because
now we
we
have
have,
somebody else.
yeah. Oh. Okay, well, really quick, since we have board president here right now, I've been talking about having assemblies for our kids, like safe pedestrian assemblies. So please partner up with the PD to get that scheduled when school starts, like one of the first things, so they know how to safely cross with their cross, person and listen to them, because I know that's a big issue.
I was gonna add, I think in Vista, that's more of a problem than the vehicles. It's the students that are not really paying attention to the signs or when the crossing. I think that's what we put down. I'm being the most definitely we can bring that up because we do that.
So, pardon my voice, but yeah, the police department earlier this year did apply for a grant through the Office of Traffic Safety. The goal is hopefully if we receive that grant, some of that money is going to be used for equipment. So a speed trailer and other equipment as well, additional training for officers, but also doing some training at the schools for bike safety, pedestrian safety. So hopefully we'll be hearing shortly in the next month or two if we receive that grant, but we did apply for one.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Let's move on to public hearings.
I'm not quite done, Mayor. I just wanted to show that we do have an application ready to go as well, with quite a bit of questions and information. So it's 2.5 pages. It's ready to go. Like I said, we haven't finalized the traffic calming handbook. It's a final draft. If you would like to make comments on it, I can send it to you before we go live. But I would take the recommendation of the council if you want to go live soon and then make subtle changes to it, or wait till we have an actual finalized.
I have a question about the volunteer community members. What is the term? Did we talk about that? Like, how long would they be sitting on this committee?
So, and Jennifer Thompson, our city attorney, may be able to assist me with this question. It's not a Brown Act committee. So
it would be an advisory body to the council, so they'll just be making that kind of recommendations to staff. So it isn't a Brown Act committee. So the term, I think, would be more up to their availability or whatever the staff requires.
Yeah, so we could take recommendations. In the past, I've seen 1-year term, 2-year term that can be renewable.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, a lot of comment. Public hearings. Legal, can you give me some guidance here? I got this really late, so I'm not.
Yeah, so I think we'll start with the staff report, and Doug, if I'm correct, is on the line.
Right.
And he'll provide, my understanding is he'll provide one staff report for all of the public hearings. And then beyond that, the way that they will be considered and voted upon is according to the script. If you want me to walk you through the script, I can do that.
That would probably be helpful when we get to that point.
Okay.
All right. Okay. At this point, we're moving to public hearing, adopt a resolution City of Greenfield approving the engineer's report regarding the proposed levy and collection of assessments for the City of Greenfield Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District Number 1, fiscal year 2023-24, and adopt a resolution of the City Council, City of Greenfield, ordering the levy and collection of assessments within the City of Greenfield Landscaping and Lighting Maintenance District Number 1 for the fiscal year 2023-24. And I believe it's also number 2 and number 3. So at this point, let's go ahead and open the staff report.
So before Doug comes on, this public hearing, when you open it, it's going to be for J1, J2, and J3. Go ahead, Doug.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, great. You see my wife's name up there. I should have changed that quickly, but I'm using my wife's school account. She's a school teacher, so we get a good Zoom product there. At any rate, I appreciate this opportunity, and every year we hear and hold a public hearing to work on these maintenance assessment districts. It's a requirement that annually we update the engineer's reports and that we adopt a resolution to order the levy and collection of assessments that may increase. And so I'm going to give highlights of what's happened this year in regards to the maintenance assessment districts. And I'll just cover basically all 6 of the districts at one time. I have a map up on your screen that shows the maintenance assessment districts. And the highlighted changes for this year, from what you've seen in the past, I put 2 green arrows here near the bottom of the map, just off of Elm Street. There are 6 condominiums that just recently were approved for a zoning change. And just so you're aware that that's one of the things that can change. These 3 condominiums used to be mixed use, commercial and residential, meaning that they could have a business and residential use concurrent. And now they're just residential. And so their assessments were adjusted to the residential rate. And then another thing that's ongoing right now and will be finalized actually the next council meeting is the addition of Greenfield Commons to the maintenance assessment districts number 3. This is the location of the Greenfield Commons. You're all familiar with that multifamily development that's coming in. And as a condition of their development, they're annexing to the maintenance assessment district. This is a good map for us to see the success of this program over the last couple of decades. All the areas that are marked in dashed lines are self-maintaining districts by assessment to maintain their lighting and landscaping, their streets and their storm drains. And an example of the benefit that they get is being seen right now. As a matter of fact, this week, all of these districts are receiving a fog seal on their streets, and then the streets will be restriped. That was done about 5 years ago, and that fog seal maintains the integrity of the pavement so it doesn't oxidize and looks good and lasts longer. And we have a policy in the city that new developments coming in will voluntarily by they have a responsibility as a condition of approval to annex into the maintenance assessment districts. So we're fairly progressive community in that regard. And this is the annual meeting where we update all those. So there's 3 lighting and landscaping maintenance districts, and there's 3 street and storm drain maintenance assessment districts. The lighting and landscaping maintenance districts essentially are maintaining all the green spaces, pocket parks. We do repairs to the lighting. We own a lot of fences, medians, and frontage improvements. And the big capital project that is currently in the budget for those districts is to assess the need for a contract for large maintenance, meaning heavy maintenance to those green spaces, replacing trees, other vegetation, repairing fences. And we do that about every 5 years. We have a landscape architect assess the needs, create a scope of work, and we put it out to bid. And this is above and beyond the maintenance contract that we have with Smith and Enright. So the other activity we have is to, we're always looking for ways to enhance that contract to get the value that we need, make sure that the quality of the work is meets what we need them to do. So that's an update on the maintenance assessment districts for lighting and landscaping. By the way, the assessment typically each year increases by the inflation rate. Basically, it's assigned to this part of California, index that we tag to by law that was established when these districts were set. And because inflation's been high, the increase this year commensurate with that inflation is just a little over 5%. The streets and storm drains maintenance assessment districts, similarly, we have projects. You see the fruits of that now around town. We have some chip and slurry seal projects going, some dig out repairs. We're going to have new striping, and that work that we're doing is typically outside of these districts. However, within the districts, as I indicated, we are doing a fog seal. We're doing a little bit of dig out repairs where there's a few potholes, but these streets are all in generally good condition, and we want to maintain them that way. That's essentially the highlights, and so that covers basically all these districts and the highlights of what the update is for this year. Do you have any questions for me on that?
I believe so at this time. Thank you. All right, I will open the public hearing on items J1, J2, and J3. Public hearing is open. Is there any comment from the public? No one here. Fine. I will close the public hearing on that. J1, J2, and J3. Bring it back to City Council for comments, review, and action. Any comments? Doug, I had one quick comment. So people living in these subdivisions are paying for the lighting and the landscaping and the chip seal every few years with their assessment. And this is just allowing us to levy that charge against them and collect it, correct?
That's correct. And what we collect is to be used for maintenance plus a reserve that we hold for heavy maintenance that will come down the road. It's very expensive to overlay, for example, and so we're accumulating some reserves in case there's either a catastrophic event or in the eventuality when we do need to do some overlays.
All right, thank you very much. So at this point, I need to ask for approval on the 6 resolutions at the same time, or do we go each one?
The first 3. Yeah, so you'll entertain a motion to adopt.
I entertain a motion to adopt the item 2023 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78. Need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
It's been moved. Need a second. All right, I need a vote. Roll call vote, please, Ann.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ortiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ansalon,
Yes.
Mayor White.
Yes. All right, we'll move to J4. Resolution, City of Greenfield approving the engineer's report regarding the proposed levy and collection of assessments for the City of Greenfield Street and Drainage District 1 for fiscal year 2023-24, and adopt a resolution of City Council, City of Greenfield ordering the levy and collection of assessments within the City of Greenfield Street and Drainage Maintenance District number 1, 2, and 3 for the fiscal year 2023-24. Staff report, please.
It's essentially the same report, so nothing new. Just we'll answer any questions if you have any regarding streets and storm drains.
I will go ahead and open the public hearing. Anybody wants to make a comment? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. City council comments, review, action. Do I need to go back and open that for J4, J5, and J6, or are we good with this?
No, you can do them each separately.
Okay.
That's
All
not a
right. All right, then I will entertain a motion on resolution 2023-79 and 80. All right, I need a second. Been moved in second. Roll call vote, please. J4.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ortiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ansalon,
Yes.
and Mayor White.
Yes. I apologize, council, but I will go ahead and entertain a motion on. Yes, I need to open the public hearing on that, correct?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. All right. Open the public hearing on J5 and J6. Comments? I will close it now. Let's do it correctly.
Mr. Mayor, you make it mandatory that the audience may need to comment.
Yeah, it'll be better. Yeah. We need a resolution on item 2023-81, 2023-82, 2023-83, and 2023-84. Need a motion.
I guess I'll make that motion again.
All right, thank you. I need a second. Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ortiz.
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Ansalon,
Yes.
and Mayor White.
Yes. All right, thank you very much. All right. K1, resolution of City Council, City of Greenfield declaring that a nuisance exists in connection with the existence of weeds, hazardous vegetative growth, and refuse on certain properties within the City of Greenfield and operating the city clerk and mail written notices. Staff report, please.
Last time, before you asked, that all and certified letters. After doing that, and that the top, right, we are required to minimum 14 days they're being notified public with duties that in staff property, write down with lawyers, we'll definitely be doing for business types. We take the problem when we can, and others are while like this, and we are being possible. The thing is, the most part of the other 31, on the third, and well, and back. Anyways, before we do the resolution, we have the that will their business and property. Most of the property is completely cut down. And where with that, I'll leave it up to you and.
Right, let's open it up for public comment. See anybody here in chambers, anybody online want to make a comment on this? If not, we'll go ahead and open it up to council's comment.
I have a question, Chief. On page 4, the property on Walnut and 3rd. I pass by that property every day, and I do notice that they did cut it down. So I guess my question is, what more do they have to do?
Kind of an equal process that we have with our and the revenue from down the part that back and actually we're hearing with and I did notice in the front they really feedback and the challenge with them is with our mail notifications so what we do knock on the door, give them the option. So again, not to be limited, but I have had my property. I've let that property go in the past. But with the education, but this year, and part of the access to that in there.
I did notice that like a month ago it was like half done, and it looks like they gotten more done, but looking at the picture, it does look like further back it's grown more. I just noticed that. Okay, alrighty, that was my only question.
I have a question. Are these fees on your, it's an invoice example, but are these actual fees right now?
So for you, not in a situation where there's a fine or there's any money to collect. So what we do is we pass on land to the data. And what we do have in the military students and what the military students involved in making this
that better? Couldn't you hear me, huh? Sir. And staff time that we've spent, checking on it on at least a weekly basis. I haven't found a way to cost it out accurately, but we'd probably still take a loss. And the other thing to consider is that if we do end up having to put a lien on their property, there's a percentage fee that the county charges us. So the goal is if they can take care of it, nobody loses anything.
Are these, I've been noticing that most of them are lots of empty lots, but what about houses that have, like, people are living in them and, large weeds? Are you doing those too?
Yes. and we'll reach out to them. And most of the time, they just take care of it.
I've been noticing in my district that a lot of people have been out on the weekends.
Let us know. We'll contact them, and 99% of the time, people, if you just ask them to take care of it and explain it to them, they take care of it. We're happy to do that. Mhm.
Any other comments? On that one that you were asking about, I do have some contact information on that one. If you reach out.
Happy to take it.
Help you.
Okay.
All right. I'll entertain a motion on adopting
So moved.
resolution 2023-85.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Moved in second, roll call please.
Councilmember Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ortiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Antoine,
Yes.
and Mayor White.
Yes. All right. K2, review and discussion regarding proposed 2023-24 fiscal year budget. Do we want to take a 10-minute break just to, so we can all be fresh and ready to go? Hear Paul's exciting presentation. All right, 10-minute break. We'll be back at 8 o'clock. All right, call the meeting back to order. Staff report on K2.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an update on the fiscal year 23-24 budget. We've gone back since the last meeting and made some adjustments, did some fine tuning, and basically we've got a balanced budget. Tonight, we're looking for guidance on a few potential funding issues, one being the SNP bus, which the SNP bus people have come to us and asked for like $3,500 a month to make a visit. We've done contracts with them in the past, and I think everyone agrees probably SNP bus is a good thing to have, but it's a matter of how much that we want to spend on that. In the past, I believe we spent $2,000, I believe, for a visit once a month. And the other is Door to Hope. And you saw a lot of people coming out today talking about that. We have 3 funding levels, I think, 0.5 FTE, which would provide a number of classes, 2 or 3 classes, 1 FTE, and I believe there's one above that. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I can provide those numbers for you. I don't have them here tonight, but what we could do, I'm going to ask, I want to hold an informal workshop on Thursday here. It's not an official meeting. It'll just be a workshop for anyone who wants to come. We'll talk about all the issues in the budget. And then I'm looking for city council approval 2 weeks from now on the 27th. So between now and then, I can get all those numbers out and for anything else that the council might want to consider funding. We also need to provide a GAN limit resolution. If you remember what that is, you may care, you may not care. It's because our property taxes were kind of frozen in time in 1978 by the California legislature. Our property taxes only go up a little bit every year. And because of that, we have to have a cap on the expenditures that we make with those funds. There's a whole calculation. The state tells us what we need to do, and then we go do it. And then we also want to complete our schedule of authorized personnel, the additions of which are included in the balanced budget. I'll show you in the forthcoming slides. Also, starting with the Thursday workshop, any questions that people have, we'll answer them and post them online, both the questions and the answers, so that people can, if they've got the same questions, they can refer to that to see if it's already been answered. All right, so I'm just going to run through these pretty fast. This is once again, it's the general fund we're talking about. This is the last 4 years. Well, it's actually the last 2 years plus this year and what we're projecting for next year. These are the revenues. And it looks like we're going to have, well, the real revenues are the line that's above the bottom line. It goes from 16.5 million to 20.2 million to 17.4 to what we're projecting is 19.77 million. We're also projecting to be transferring in from other funds 2.4 million. So that's a total of around $22 million in revenues. And here are the expenses for the general fund. Once again, the last, prior 2 years, this year projected, and the budgeted for 23-24, going from 15.6 to 16.7. 16.1 that we're projecting this year. Most of that's actually a decrease, and it's mainly because we're trying to hire people, and it's very, very difficult to do. Up to a budget for next year of 21.4. Projected revenues, so here's the total revenues, 22.2, total expenditures, 21.4. So we're looking at a surplus of around $780,000. Now, we were making adjustments up until about 4:30 on Friday. I handed over to Evelyn and Belinda, and they worked till 7, putting it all on the sheets that you got in the staff report. We've already found a couple of issues. There's a couple of typographical errors, but there's also a couple of things that we had missed that we need to, and it relates to the CIP. But we will make those adjustments. None of it rises to anything near the 780,000 that we've got for a surplus at this point. So I just want to run through the personnel additions that we've got in the budget. It's already calculated in there. A second community engagement assistant for Fabiola, a recreation office clerk that Jesus had asked for to help run the art center when we can get it up and fully functional. A full-time educator. This is for the science workshop. It's not actually funded by the city, but it's on our list because we would actually he'd be on our payroll, but it would be paid for out of the science workshop funds. A full-time assistant engineer for Jamie, full-time public works admin assistant also for Jamie, a full-time maintenance worker one. And so that's an addition. We're trying to constantly hire maintenance workers, and this is an actual additional worker. So we're hoping we can get these filled. We're getting them filled more and more in the last month or so. So we're getting closer to being appropriately staffed. A school resource officer for the police department. This is our second one. This would be for Vista Verde. This will be paid half by the school district. Yeah, it's the whole amount. That's correct. Yeah, so the half the revenue is in on the revenue side. And then a traffic officer for the police department as well. So that comes to around 544,000. Once again, we'll be reimbursed for around 46,000 of the second school resource officer, as well as the full-time educator for the science workshop is not in there, but we put it in there anyway. So this is CIP. So currently we have funded, and this is something that we have, I don't want to say struggling with, but we're trying to rectify issues of, I'll call it our eyes being bigger than our stomach. We've got money that we can spend on capital projects. There's a lot of capital projects to do, and we want to do them. Problem is we can't get them all done. And so we have a carryover. Now, carryovers in general are a normal occurrence because you start them at different times during the year. But what we want to do, what we've done in the past is we've carried them over, and we're going to do it again this year. But what we're going to try to do is focus on getting the ones that are already started, already being implemented, to get them completed and really focus on those. So you'll see the fourth column over, the middle of the lighter columns carry over from prior year. These are things like the north and south entrance signs, right? We've talked about that, not just for 1 year, but we've talked about it for multiple years. City park lighting, Walnut Avenue pedestrian plan and partial overlay. Go down to the traffic master plan. I believe the original budget for that was 90,000. So that's mostly complete at this point in time. We just have a little bit left over. And then ball field improvements at Patriot Park. That's mostly baseball field improvements. I think we did 70,000 this year. And I think we were doing 70,000 this year. And the other part is for the soccer fields. So that's that's all of those are funded with monies that have been, I don't want to say set aside, but committed from prior years, this current year, as well as the north and south entrance signs were committed from years before that even. So that's funded with old money, I'll say. And then the other things that we want to do is we've got new monies that we want to commit for the 3-year street rehab program, which is the third year. 1 and 2 is going on right now. And then year 3 will be happening, I'm assuming sometime in the spring of next year. We have our 12th Street between Oak and Elm rehab, about 1.4 million. And I just want to say, just because that one jumps out, it's a very large number. These things are not all being funded by the general fund. They're being funded by a number of different funds. That particular project is being funded by impact fees, by gas tax fees, Measure X, and the like. We also have street maintenance districts. What you guys just did, part of the budget, I believe that you passed with Doug earlier today, was these the actual street improvements. And then we have surveillance camera additions and modifications. So all of this is currently in the budget that's balanced. I want to go over and talk about potential additions that we would budget in the next year as things arise. We've got a number of items that we don't have numbers for yet, such as updating the general planned housing element, Greenfield Arts Center rehab, and then skipping down to the bottom, the Civic Center backup AC units that Jamie talked about at the last meeting, corporate yard doors, shop light install, water utility projects, which we're going to have a number of before we actually, as we're implementing and putting online a new well, as well as sewer lift station repairs. We also have numbers for, as Jim had asked for at the last meeting, a fire department emergency generator, security fencing, and dog park. And this $45,000 is our 20% because we have a grant for it. So right now, these are outside of the current budget. We thought we'd address them as we wanted to move forward, but council can do what it wants to do, and it can ask us to fund these in the original budget or not. In addition to these projects, we also have other utility CIPs, and some of these are really big numbers. The new wastewater treatment plant design we have at $4.4 million. The environmental design, $113,000. Wastewater spray field environmental at $113,000. Interim sewer plant improvements. That's where I was going before. We have a lot of repairs and maintenance to do to the sewer plant before we get to our brand new one that's coming online, hopefully in 3 to 4 years. And then an item that Jamie had come up with at a few meetings ago, the closed circuit television of the sewer lines that's required by our arrangement with Riverwatch for our spill. So that's a 1 year, that's our second year total of around $230,000. So that one actually is approved for this coming year. The other ones, as we embark upon them, we will come to council for. Yeah, that's it. Oh, missed it by a couple of minutes. But so that's basically where we are. And what I want to do is, if you got questions and comments, I'd love to hear them. I'm also going to be doing this presentation and have everything that we've already presented available for a workshop, informal workshop on Thursday of this week for anybody, and it'll be on Zoom. I'll present whatever I need to present, and we will take questions. We'll provide questions and answers online, and then whatever I can actually answer live, I'll do that. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Can you go back a couple slides? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Where it's the AC right here
Oh,
for the
sorry.
server room,
Sorry. Say again.
the server room, the AC for the server room.
Oh, okay.
We don't have a number on that. I know that is going to be very important because we are planning to add some more cameras and
Mhm.
upgrades in the city system.
Surveillance. Yeah.
So I think I would like to see that. I know that Ed's has to come in sometimes when he's already off for the day because that room overheats. So I think that right there is going to be very important to keeping everything going.
I would agree. I mean, I think that's probably a priority because we've
Yes.
got police records and things like that, open cases and things going on in there. So we need to make sure that those are
Okay.
cooled and taken care of.
Yes.
My question's Paul. I was gonna ask, are you gonna, thank you for, first of all, for already having a date for the upcoming budget workshop. Are you gonna be providing it both in English and Spanish? And did you have this document Is this the same one that you're going to be sharing with the public? Is it going to be available in Spanish as well?
I will definitely try to make it available in Spanish. Luckily, it's mostly numbers.
Okay.
That translates pretty well.
And I like the way you just kind of narrow it down. I don't see it. I think this one's a little bit more legible than the one that we actually got in the packet. So I was going to ask if we, the council, get a copy. Because I do want to offer a workshop as well with the community for folks that really can't come.
Sure.
Just in a community setting and being able to just kind of like, I guess, model what you just presented to the public and getting that feedback and bringing it back to you as well. I think it's going to benefit the community.
Yeah.
And then also with the camera, do we have an exact location? Well, obviously they can't disclose the location, but I know that in the past, we've really been wanting to work with different organizations. And I know some of the colleagues here read my Facebook post and whatnot. My mother's grave got vandalized over the weekend, which is very disturbing. Her cross got stolen. It came back all of a sudden with a big hole in her grave that they left behind. And for me, that's disrespectful. And after posting about it, it hasn't just happened to my mother. There's been different cases and scenarios. So I want to see if maybe we could collaborate with the cemetery and park district. Because I know that they're going to be purchasing cameras themselves, but they would at least, I think, like that additional support from the city. Just because, again, there's been issues in the past where even PB has to go out there. And I know Mayor Pro Tem, you were there last time when the whole vandalizing happened. And so we just don't want to go ahead and repeat that again. So maybe that's part of the conversations we could have with them in the future.
Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, have the Parks District and Cemetery districts kind of gotten together and they're like one district or at least the same board?
Yeah. They're one district and they're one district and they're actually having an upcoming meeting on Monday, the 19th.
Okay.
So maybe you could participate in that meeting. I don't have the location yet. I think Ms. Diaz mentioned it might be the local Greenfield Library, but it would be good just to kind of like come in and also PD. I know you guys always been supportive, but just to kind of get that feedback from the public and how could we help them out.
Yep, I will definitely do that.
Councilwoman Ortiz, do you have any questions? I have a couple of things, Paul. On the potential additions, the sewer lift station repairs, I think that we need to get a number on that.
Yes,
Probably move that one up on the priority.
Well, that's right. As well as just sewer plant repairs, because that'll be on there too. What we're hoping, because we've talked about this during the budget process, is there's a lot of repair work that just is general maintenance that needs to be done. So there's a larger budget this year in the wastewater treatment plant for public works services and the like, and we're hoping that's going to cover a lot of it.
And the one your early screen showed a transfer in of 2.4 million on the revenues.
Yes.
Where is that being transferred in from?
Yeah, so that's coming from a number of places, but larger amounts will come in from the water fund. In the past, if you notice, there's a couple of years there, 2021 and 21-22, where there's no general fund transfers in. Historically, the city has transferred about between $150,000 and $200,000 a year from the water and wastewater funds. We in years where we didn't think it was necessarily necessary for the general fund to be getting those, we didn't transfer the monies in because there's a lot of work that needs to be done over there. In other years, we like this year, we're transferring 2 years worth. So it's $360,000. It's also monies that are coming in from, I think I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. I'm not exactly sure where they're from. Looking at the million. Oh, okay. Part of it is bookkeeping. We know the fire department is in a separate fund. And we wanted to do that because when we absorbed them from the fire district, we wanted to see how our spending changed, if it did. And of course it did. It went up, but we're providing them with a lot of things. So one of the things that the city has always done is provide $500,000-ish to the fire district and now the fire department. So part of this 500,000 of it is also that money that's since Fund 102 is actually a general fund, we're transferring out and transferring in. So it sounds like double counting. It actually is, but it's not having an effect on how much we have available to spend. So it's part of it's that.
On the general fund revenues on the actual budget sheet that we got, I was wondering if you and I have talked about some of this before, but I wondered if you kind of roll the council some of those revenue numbers, just so kind of what they are and where they're coming from.
Okay, and this is on this slide?
Idea. That would be like
158. Is that 158?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, budget.
Okay. Okay, I do not have that.
And if I may, Mayor, just for to start promoting it, Paul, at what time are you hosting the meeting on Thursday?
It'll be 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock? Okay. And translation available?
The details, which is right. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and it's the same.
Okay, all right. Okay, so where do we want to start? Start with the.
I think just go over the revenues. Maybe.
Okay, all right. Yep, absolutely.
There's a couple of pieces there. I think that's what the revenues on there.
Okay, so we've got a number of revenues. These tax revenues are broken down.
Is there a way that we can get that on the screen so that those online can see as well?
Don't know. Ed, okay, look at that.
Yeah. And that was actually in the packet. Actual PDF, I believe.
So Councilwoman Martinez had Ortiz, I don't remember which one. They had a question if we were going to have translation here that night on Thursday.
Sorry,
Did you answer that?
Can I have what now?
If we're going to have translation on Thursday night, like in
Yeah, if we can get it, we certainly will have it.
Okay.
I don't know any reason why we wouldn't be able to have it.
Okay, and then I have a question too.
Okay.
This is off topic, but when we went to the housing workshop that was hosted here at Memorial Hall.
Yep.
Are we gonna get like a presentation from a presentation from Brett anytime soon to discuss like what the community is actually looking for and all of that type of stuff?
I believe you will. I don't know exactly when, but I will reach out to him.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Did see it flash up at one point.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not screwing this up. Okay. So this battery apparently is. Not working.
There it is.
Okay. But okay, Ed, can you go to
Page 3, I think.
yeah, page 3. Okay, that's a good place to start. You make that a little bit bigger. Thank you. Okay, tax revenue. So tax revenue, we've for some reason, it predates me. We have our tax revenues in 2 sections. Tax revenue, which is mostly property tax. It also includes a very large number called vehicle or VLF, vehicle in lieu fees, which is a standard amount that we get every year. So as you can see, our property tax base is not very large because our property taxes aren't very high because the valuation isn't huge. In many cities, especially in Monterey County, that have high property values, this is one of the main sources of income. And it's one of the big 3. It's sales tax, property tax, and hotel tax. We don't have a lot of that, but that number for VLF continues to increase, and it really is. It's a number that the state mandates that they give us. It's called vehicle in lieu fees. We used to get a portion of every license fee that the state collected for motor vehicles. And then instead of calculating all that every however often we used to get it, they decided, we're just going to give you one in lieu payment to be received by the municipality every 6 months. And that's what it is. And it's a standard number. So it's been going up, as you can see, pretty steadily, but in pretty small increments. So our total tax revenue, which is basically property taxes and VLF, is slowly goes up year to year. 2.4, 2.55, 2.59, 2.8. Once again, that number, well, we don't, the projected at this point, we still do have a June payment to receive for property taxes. So we don't have everything yet, but that number is an estimate. The second section is really where we get a lot of it, besides the VLF that you saw in the first section, where we get a lot of our general fund revenue. That is sales tax, cannabis tax, and to a smaller extent, TOT and business license and utility user tax. The top 2, sales tax, this is just what's referred to as Bradley Burns sales tax. It has nothing to do with the measures that were passed related to measures V and W or V and Z or whatever they have been in the past. That is handled in a different fund. It gets blended with the general fund, but this is just the standard sales tax, and the cannabis tax is our cannabis business tax. Everybody might be aware that California tax collectors are having a much more difficult time collecting cannabis taxes, and they've been decreasing for the last 7 quarters in a row, I think. This is across the board. Ours are not decreasing at all. Part of the reason that it's decreasing statewide is because they set up their taxes to be based on gross sales. And when gross sales go down, tax revenues go down. We didn't set it up that way. We set ours up based on square footage of whatever they're using their plant for. If they're using it for growing, we have a cultivation tax that's based on square footage cultivated. If they're doing manufacturing, it's square footage being used for manufacturing, and so on. So the amount that we are owed has nothing to do with how much cannabis they sell. It has to do with how much they're utilizing their space. So they are contractually obligated to pay those amounts. So our taxes, because we're actually getting, we've gone through the same lumps and bumps everybody else has with people coming in and then not being able to make it and leaving. But we're situated in a pretty good area in that we're right next to 101, which is a major transportation corridor, as well as we've got the space. It's relatively cheap for them to buy here and set up their cannabis shops. So we are, plus we're very level-headed with the way that we deal with these people. And so we're easy, I don't want to say easy to do business with, but we're reasonable to do business with. So our cannabis receipts have been coming in as we're budgeting them. And as you can see, we actually do expect them to go up because we have two more that are supposedly coming online. One Mazeltech in the old Mazeltech building, up on north side of ECR, and then the one over on 4th Street that we've talked about at length with Mr. McKinley, I believe it was. So we do expect our cannabis revenues to go up. Having said that, everybody else seems to be going down. The county's revenues have been decreasing quite drastically. They've changed their rates of cannabis tax. We have not yet been asked to do that. I would not be surprised if we were asked at some point in time. And of course, when that happens, this will be a discussion that we need to have. So you can see we have two things. One is sales tax, and our projected, I've mentioned several times over the years, we're in the budget cycle, but I'm a very conservative budgeteer, especially when it comes to revenues, because I've made the mistake of giving ourselves, not so much Greenfield, but other cities, the benefit of the doubt as far as what we think we're going to do growth-wise, and not use my best judgment in saying, no, we need to keep the budget down because if there's a shortfall, it means the planning that we've done to provide services will suffer for it. So if we just plan to hit specific numbers and we actually hit those numbers, we should be able to provide the services that we've expected to provide. So if you look here, you see sales tax, the second line in other taxes goes from 1.5 to almost 9 to 1.6 to 2.4. So that 1.6 is based on a budget that I believe will end up being around 1.9. We're almost at 1.6 now, and we've got 3 months to almost a full quarter to look at. So that's a low number. So I actually think next year is going to be around 2.4. And I don't want to say I'm getting out of my comfort level in saying that I know we're going to beat that, because I don't know that. I think it's a really good estimate, but we've been hearing about a recession happening, and we're hearing about inflation. Inflation's happening. And I know that's going to help my number, but I also know that there's going to be a recession at some point in time, because we cannot keep spending, I don't mean Greenfield, as a nation, hundreds of millions of dollars to do these things that we don't normally do. That causes inflation, and there will be a snapback at some point in time. Having said that, I feel pretty decent about the numbers that are here. So we go in the other taxes, we go from 3.2 million, 4.5, 4.2. I know that's a little low. That probably is going to end up being 4.5 or higher, up to 5.3, based on two things. Sales taxes that go up we're getting some of our retail back. Don't forget, Chevron was down for quite some time. We also have new buildings going on. Oh, I mean, I'm not sure when California Gourmet Pizza's coming back, but we do have things opening up. And I think that's going to help, as well as I think in general, just like with the pandemic, remember how there's a lot of businesses, especially on the peninsula, really had a decrease in revenues because people couldn't travel, people couldn't do this. We didn't suffer that much. Why? Because we're a working community. It's a blue collar community. The people that come here and populate our city over the summer, they're going to be here, and they are here, and they shop here. So I'm confident in those sales numbers. If you want to move down, Ed, franchise fees is just going up a standard amount. Let's see where we are here. Electricity franchise fees. The more people that are here, the more the PG&E pays us as a franchise fee. So the more electricity that we use, because there's more people, it just goes up. And if you also look at that trend, we've gone from 89 to about 100,000. We're budgeting 85 this year and 95. So I think that's probably a little low. So I'm confident in those numbers, and those numbers are actually quite small anyway as a group. Franchise fees, permits, and fees. Okay, the big numbers here are that first number with construction permits. We have a lot of construction going on, and a lot of it has gone through the phases where they're doing planning, they're doing studies, and actually getting their building permits issued. And we expect, there's a big 220 unit housing unit going in at Greenfield Commons that we expect to be collecting permit fees for construction permits, as well as who else knows where. There's the truck stop on the north end of ECR. There's Mazel Tech is going to be doing some more building over at their spot. So we expect 23-24 to be a pretty good year building wise. We're going to get it again. What we are seeing right now is a little fall off in the amount of inquiries about where to do business, which is going to happen. We've gone through a pretty stiff building time, and it looks like whether it's the economy, whatever, it's starting, that part is slowing down. So the tunnel of business is starting to slow down at the beginning. But it shouldn't, we don't think it's going to affect our construction permits. Encroachment permits, we believe, is going to go up. These other numbers. We've also got garbage fee revenue. That, once again, is just a function of the number of people that are living in Greenfield. We charge a garbage fee that goes to the general fund, and that's what this is. And then solid waste surcharge revenue is the same type of number. It's just a function of the number of people that are in town. Okay, Ed, you want to scroll up a little bit more? Okay, yeah, keep going. Okay, revenues from other agencies. We expect to be getting for our two school resource officers. That's the money that's coming in for payments of the two of them, as well as post reimbursements for mandated costs for like the police officers standards training. If it's mandated by the state that they get certain training, it's reimbursable to the city. So that's just a reimbursement number that we get. Rent utility assistance grant. That's a number that, hey, that grant that provided lots of people with rent and utility assistance is over. And we don't expect to be spending, although there is another grant that's coming in for deposit assistance. And those numbers are not yet, at least on this graph. On this sheet. So we're going down for fines and forfeitures. That's ticketing revenue, either that's passed on to us by the county or that we produce ourselves. Relatively small amount. And then charges for services. Ed, you want to scroll down a little bit? Thank you.
we're looking at it to remain fairly steady. A lot of this is building driven. And if you look about halfway down, you see the plan check fees planning. We've gone from 225,000 to almost 600,000 to 1.67 million. And we're expecting it to come down. That's the planning that I was talking about earlier. It's the pipeline that's starting to slow down. But we do expect more plan check fees for fire. And then there's a lot of numbers that are relatively the same. Zoning fees, it is a significant increase, but we've listed all those that are out, that are in process, and we believe that's a good number. Okay, recreation user fees. This is all the user fees that we charge for our rec programs. We expect that to go up in total. I'm going to keep going, Ed. Yeah. Okay. So that top line there is about 78,000. We're expecting more, but this really isn't a revenue generator. It's merely a cost recovery system. What we try to do, Jesus and I are constantly talking about when he's talking about new things is, can we get to a point where we can break even with a minimal user fee? We don't want to be making money, although we understand there are some programs that we make some money on. That money gets funneled into other programs that we know don't make money, but we really need to have them. So this is just once again, it's not a large number, and we try to keep those user fees to a minimum. Also, use of money in property. Most of that is our parking lot fees and lease income for the AT&T tower, as well as Civic Center rental income from the county. So we've about 100,000, not bad. And then other revenues, these are things that most of the time we can't guess what's going to happen. So we guess, and we guess a small number, and it's not really significant. Okay, scroll up one more time, Ed. Okay, how about down? I just want to look at a total. Yeah, total on that page. Total on the, sorry. Deep breath. Yeah, keep going up one more. There you go. Yeah, so look at 15,490. Now, once again, this is Fund 100. This is not, you remember the number we had before was 19.777. That number also includes the fire fund, V&W, and then the little amount that we expect from community engagement. So, I mean, we can go over those if you like. It's really the main number in all three of those is the 3.7 million that we expect to get from our measures V&W. It's the public voted on sales and use tax.
So the majority of our revenue comes from our sales tax, right? Between the V&T
Yes.
and our normal.
Absolutely. Yeah, the vast majority.
Is
I'm going to say 28 to 30%
of our total revenue.
of our total general fund revenues. Yes.
So the more shopping we can encourage in Greenfield, the more revenue we will have.
The more stores that we can get, yeah, absolutely right. The more shopping we do, the better. Right.
Now, our numbers are significantly higher on the sales tax numbers because of V&T and as a percentage of our total budget because we don't have the tax base that a lot of places have. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. I mean, the big three, and I'm going to say this is mostly on the peninsula, not necessarily for the Salinas Valley. It's going to be property taxes, sales taxes, and hotel taxes. I mean, hotel taxes, first of all, the city of Greenfield's hotel tax is 8% for every room night. Most everywhere else is now 10 to 15%. So we're kind of low anyway, but adding to that is we had four, I think we have three now, 3 hotels that generate TOT. That also is a reason that the Salinas Valley cities are more trying to get into the tourism draw, because the more people that you can have come and stay at your in your city, you've got more people paying TOT and sales tax. because they go to your restaurants, they go to your stores and that kind of thing. So that's something that, it's in we want to become a destination, and we should be. We too are the gateway to the Pinnacles. We too are the gateway to the Arroyo Seco, for crying out loud. This is Steinbeck country. And there's all kinds of ag tourism, because we are at the end of the River Road Wine Trail as well. So, and there's lots of great things for all of us Valley cities. So the more we can, get ourselves to tap into that, as well as developing downtown so that we actually have some great destination spots to go, the better.
The more retail, the more sales we have, the better off, more services we can provide to the community.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I think that's what I was looking for.
Okay. Very good.
Right. Any other questions? All right. So you're going to have your thing Thursday night.
Yep.
Around 6 o'clock.
Yep. And we intend to have it bilingual. Of course, it'll be on Zoom, wherever else we can normally find it. And then what we'll do is between now and then, I will come up with some numbers that I'll distribute to the public related to funding for Door to Hope and the SNP bus. And then anything else anybody has ideas about funding, those are the two big ones that we normally do fund. And then so that after the workshop and coming into next council meeting on the 27th, we'll be making, I know that there are some errors in this. We'll fix those. We'll put in the funding, and we'll get an okay basically from council before you pass the budget, that everyone's aware that this has changed since the last time, and we'll, everyone will know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you, Paul, I know in the past we did talk about it, and I brought it up in several of our budget meetings, but we really didn't kind of settle down in anything. But I know we have our community engagement fund as well, but we could also do other funds as well. We never kind of follow through with the library of donating books. We're trying to do it on a regular basis, but maybe if this could be like a one-time thing, or we could just really help. Because I know, speaking for myself, my children, that's like a hangout place, especially because of everything that happened, with COVID now, that in our history, a lot of the kids are going to the library. They're providing the free lunches, like the mayor mentioned, during the day. But those books would really help, because my daughters, they go through books and they love reading, but it's just like, they want to get those newer books. So we could please just allocate some money for books for the public library. I think that would be awesome. That's something that I know we had discussed in the past.
Okay. Very good. All right, we'll move to K3, consideration of filling city council seat after councilman resignation. That report, please.
Good evening, Mayor White and City Council. As you're aware, Mayor Pro Tem Antoine submitted her resignation, which will be effective upon the filling of her District 1 seat. And so the task before you tonight is to decide how you would like to fill her seat. And then you may proceed and take other action related to that tonight as well. So you did this recently, so I probably don't have to give you too much information, but you do have two options. You can either order an election, or you can appoint her replacement. The election this time will be estimated to be less expensive than the previous estimate, because it is just a District 1 election rather than a citywide election. And so that could range anywhere between $17,484 and $29,140. Alternatively, you could appoint someone to fill Mayor Pro Tem's District 1 seat. And that can be done by any method that you choose. So like last time, you chose to accept applications and then interview those applicants at a meeting. You could appoint and just vote upon, or what is the word I'm looking for? Nominate and then vote upon people. Again, they do have to, though, this time reside in District 1. The other difference I'll point out is that in this case, because Councilmember Antoine's in the beginning of her term, if you do appoint someone, they will only serve until November 2024, although her term ends in 2026. And that's because that's the next scheduled regular municipal election. So if you did opt to do an election now, that election would occur in November 2023. And then that person would serve all the way until 2026. So depending on the method you chose, they would have a different term. And then the last thing that I will point out that's different than, or it's kind of a little bit more important now, is that the council cannot be formed by a majority of appointed members. And so what that means is that if you do appoint this seat, there will be 2 appointed members. And so if a third vacancy occurred before the next election, you would have to go to election for that third person, because there can't be 3 appointed council members. So I don't know if that's important now, but it's just something I think you should know, just in the event that there's a third vacancy. With that, I will take any questions.
So if the appointed position was how do I phrase this? So if we go for an election on this one, which is lower cost at this point because it's a district election, if a vacancy happened to happen on another one, then that would be a more expensive election if we went that way. Is that what you're saying?
It depends
Most
on who it
likely,
is.
if it happened to be one of either the mayor or the 2 open, the 2 general council seats.
Yeah, if it's for the mayor or for a seat that is at large, it would probably be more expensive because there's more ballots. If it's a seat that's by district, it would probably be closer to the ballot.
And just to narrow it down, it's pretty much my seat, the one, right? I'm the only one member at large. Well, technically Ariana would be, but I'm so far the last member at large. Yeah, that's one standing. It's interesting, the whole dynamic when it comes to like the whole district election, that based upon the amount of time that Mayor Pro Tem was on the council, technically that person would only serve up until 2024 unless we decide to go through the whole election cycle, which for me, I really don't think we should be wasting any more money in the city. We already wasted a lot of money on other nonsense, that I think we should just move forward with appointments as we did already. And I think when we've learned a lesson, it was a very difficult one, appointing the chair that Mayor White left. And I think it's just continue the path forward, staying true to ourselves and continuing a system, I guess, putting a system in place instead of kind of like going back and forth with whatever we want or whatever we want to come up with. I think it would just show that maturity and that the council is really willing to move forward and have something set. If it's by appointment, it's by appointment, and this is the process. Turning your applications, maybe using the same one. I just see that continue that pattern. Even though I wasn't here last time for your announcement, Mayor Pro Tem, but you did let me know at the end of the meeting that your decision.
Any other comments from council?
I don't want to see this go to election. I don't want to see, the city spend money to do an election. I think the last seat that we appointed, it ran pretty smoothly, I believe, as far as like accepting the applications and, having them come forward, answer the questions, introduce themselves. And I would like to see something like that. It's important for me to know who's going to replace me and get to know them before they get appointed, because this sorry, this position means a lot to me, and
it's okay.
It's just important to me that the person that sits in the seat after me is going to do right by our community and my district. So
One question that I have for legal counsel, Ms. Thompson, is the fact that it's a very interesting dynamic when it comes to the way Mayor Pro Tem suggested, and I truly respect that Mayor Pro Tem by saying, like, I want to go ahead and give my notice that I will not be here, but I want to remain in that seat until it's my successor comes into play. So would she have that vote on helping that put that person in that seat, or would it just count the 4 votes? How would that break down?
No, as long as she's on council, she will be able to vote.
Okay.
Yeah, so if she were to resign before that, of course not, but as long as she's still. And then she will automatically be resigned on whatever day the new.
Pass the baton.
Yeah, pass the baton on the day that person.
But I think it's only important that we budget and the life knowledge for how we proceed. I thought it's go ahead and do that. This is only like you last time. But the reason I believe I started to do this is this way for the climate commission, for movie. Those are all really important things that need to happen. And as well as the public to have opportunity and consider applications and that we can right now, just for the children, the shop, and then we don't know what that means, they have on this. I think really like it. I got from, how what is really important for and I want to because we need to do that we look to them and what things are going and the better one to have that we right right world is everything you start out. There's always everything and being the one as far as the research sometimes work on this stuff and try to make a decision right very before the field is putting some of the outfits there that you still have to catch up. They don't have that fast. I had some on I know that so when they're really fire there. We start usually like to probably try to see this through. And
I plan to, still be here till the end of July. I gave myself that time frame. So that's how important this is to me, that I see it through. When I ran, I think I was going to be leaving, but life happens. And so, discussing this with my husband and my family, like that was a decision we made, that even if it took until August or September, like I will still be here. I will do what I have to do just to see it through, because that's how important it is to me. So I'm completely okay with, maybe holding off on accepting applications until after the budget is passed, because it will put more work on our staff when we already have so much going on. So I'm completely okay with that. Mm-hmm.
I do see Ariana's got her hand raised, so.
I was just going to say.
And then we still need to do public comment as well.
Okay.
Go ahead, Councilmember Rodriguez.
Thank you. I just wanted to echo some of what has been said. My position on this is that I would like to see it be handled by appointment as well. I would hate to see more money spent on a special election. Even given a hypothetical situation of having a future vacancy, I don't think that we should make a decision based on, a potential hypothetical. If we can make a decision just based on the situation at hand now and not vote to spend more, more money on a special election. I kind of stand from the unique perspective of being the last person that went through the process. And I do feel that, that wasn't too much to ask of somebody that's wanting to take a seat up there to go in and, tell the community about yourself. Go through an interview process to explain why you would like to be up there to serve the community in that way. I think that's pretty reasonable for anybody that's wanting to take a seat up there to go through. So I'm in favor of appointing somebody after a public interview process, similar to what I went through.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman. All right, I would just want to say, yeah, I'm also in favor of an election. Not an election, the appointment. I think it just makes sense. There's, if the scenario that plays out, we'll deal with it at the time rather than trying to anticipate what, might happen or might not happen. So at this point, I'll go ahead and open up for public comment if anyone would like to comment on this item.
Sorry, I was out to dinner and I was listening to this and ran over here. I'm glad we didn't miss public comment. So my concern is, as much as you want to make it about you and people making the appointment, this is the price of going to districts, because the choice really is District 1's choice. And we had an election for that seat. I think the race was 7, 8 votes, 17 votes. I don't know. It was a very small amount. So, Drew ran and he lost narrowly. And I think that it just makes sense to appoint him, because he went through the process of an election. The voters spoke. Unless you can fill the chambers with the number of votes that he got, requesting someone else, it just makes sense to appoint him. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much. Any other comments?
Good evening. For clarification purposes, the seat has to be filled 30 days after vacancy. Am I correct on that?
60 days.
60 days after vacancy, but until vacancy. Am I correct on that?
So the seat in this case won't be vacant ever, because, well, likely Councilmember Antoine won't raise her resignation date won't be until the vacancy is filled, or what will be here. That matters, right? Of course, yeah. She'll have to continue to live in District 1 and she'll stay on in her seat, as she indicated, until someone has been appointed. And then that person will just take over. There will be a transition with their vacancy. In the case where there is a vacancy, it does have to be
60 days.
60 days. Yeah.
60 days, but she's going to stay on until.
That's the plan.
So technically there is never going to be a vacancy. That's my.
Right.
Yeah. So legally, how does that? I just want to make sure that legally that everything is okay there. So she gets to stay on. She gets to announce her departure, but stay on until she decides to choose someone.
As long as I don't put a date down on my resignation, and I specifically stated that I will resign as soon as my successor is appointed, that's all I had to do. So I still live in Greenfield. I'm still going to be here. I still plan to be here until this position is appointed to the next person.
Secondly, Drew did interview for the last position, so he is interested in a seat. So I think that is also something to take into consideration as well, since he did interview at the last one also. Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Anyone online?
No.
If not, will you have enough to move on with this item, or do you need more direction?
Councilmember Rodriguez, did you need to say anything else? Or want to say anything else?
Oh, no, I was just, after public comment, I wanted to go ahead and motion to appoint Mayor Pro Tem Antalan's successor by appointment.
I think this wasn't an action. I think this is the direction. Correct?
Yeah, we don't necessarily need a motion. I would like to know if there's consensus to wait until after the budget. I think I heard it from.
Yeah, I would like to wait till after budget.
Okay, so the budget should pass next council meeting, right? So after that meeting, can we go ahead and open it up for applications? Are you okay with that? Like after we have that meeting, where we finalize the budget, that we open it up for application the following week.
I don't know if you want to convolute it that much. I think we might want to just do the one and then take action. Sure, we can. I'm sure it would help with our pool of candidates.
And then the last time you provided questions, do you want to use the same questions or? I think for the application. I think this one is definitely for that question that we like to have that y'all do something like, but maybe it's actually the same. I don't like to. And so what's the process to get your questions and for the application? I think that's what we're doing, a very common manner, right? I think you could probably send them to you now. If they want to.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. The sound on the Zoom is really terrible. I wasn't able to hear any of the comments that were just made by council. So I'm not sure what the discussion is exactly, but I just wanted to chime in that because I wasn't present for the last round of interviews, I would ask that we look at the questions again and maybe, also the existing council's questions may have changed since then. But I don't know what the discussion just was. As I mentioned, the sound on the Zoom is very hard to hear.
I would think that makes a lot of sense. So just let's generate some new questions. I mean, make a new questionnaire.
And you want to recap?
I was saying that after being up here for a while, I think about the questions I asked at that time. And okay, now I'm going to ask something completely different now. And I think Ariana probably in the same situation. That would be different.
Yeah.
Ariana, I'm sorry, Councilmember Rodriguez, did you hear that?
I did. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. We need anything additional on this one? All right, then we will adjourn to closed session. You want to send us on?
Let me find it. Council going to meet in closed session to discuss conference with labor negotiators. The agency designated representative was the city manager, and the employee organization is the Greenfield Police Officers.
Right. Thank you very much. Joining to close.
Rodriguez, will you be attending closed session?
Yes, I was actually going to ask if I would just be called maybe during that time.
Do you have a number to call into?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a phone number to call in?
I can send that to you in email or yeah, I can email that to you now.
No, you'll have to call in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. We're going to send you a phone number, a conference call number.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that. Thank you.
Oh. Okay, thank you. Reconvene to open session, city attorney report.
I have nothing to report. I will report that there's nothing to report.
Okay,
Also,
all right. City manager report.
I've got two quick things. One, just a reminder that we're going to have a budget workshop this Thursday, starting at 6 o'clock, ending hopefully around 8 o'clock or earlier or later, whatever. We'll answer all questions. Also, that I met with Fabiola and our two new youth council representatives today for an orientation. It was really fun. Flavio was also there. We did a little team building, which was pretty awesome. And they get a couple of really good kids, and it's going to be really, really fun. So we'll keep you posted. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.